All right, welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful framework for saving and strengthening a relationship. And look, this isn't about grand gestures or trying to force things back to the way they used to be. It's actually all about clarity, maturity, and making some intentional changes.
And that, right there, is the core idea we're starting with. The real problem usually isn't that the love is gone. It's the slow, quiet erosion of the very foundations that make a partnership actually work. So, how do we start rebuilding them?
Okay, so the single most important change you can make doesn't start with your partner. It actually starts with your own mindset when things get tense. So the first question you got to ask yourself is, what's my goal here?
Now, take a look at this. It's like we're seeing two completely different paths. On the left, you've got that winning mindset. It's all about self-defense, right? You're already cooking up your rebuttal while your partner is still talking. But on the right, the understanding mindset. Well, that changes the entire goal. It's not about winning an argument. It's about making sure your partner feels heard. A relationship just doesn't need a win. And this is such a simple but powerful dynamic. Just think about it. The second one person points a finger, what happens? The other person's wall goes straight up. But when one person decides to take accountability first, it completely changes the energy in the room. It creates a little crack of light, an opening for a real repair.
And that repair work, well, it really has to start with looking in the mirror. Before you even think about what your partner is doing wrong, you've got to ask yourself, hey, how am I contributing to this tension? What are my go-to defensive moves? What's one thing I can change about my own behavior right now no matter what they do?
And just one more thing on this internal work. A partnership gets so much weaker when people lose themselves in it. Recommitting to your own purpose, your own friends, your own self-respect. Let me be clear, that is not selfish. It is absolutely essential. Strength is attractive. It builds a foundation for a much healthier dynamic.
Okay, so once you've started to shift your internal mindset, how does that actually play out in the real world with your partner? Well, that's what we're getting into next. This is all about creating a concrete plan for safety and for repair.
Let's talk about emotional safety, because it is the absolute bedrock of any real communication. People don't just shut down because they don't care. They shut down because they don't feel safe. When the fear of being mocked or punished or abandoned is taken off the table, that's when a real conversation can finally begin. Oh man, we've all been here, haven't we? A phrase like, "you never care about me," is a perfect example of communication that just builds walls. It's not a statement of what you need, it's a huge, sweeping accusation that instantly puts the other person on the defensive. But now, look at this. This is the game changer. A statement like, "I feel disconnected when we don't spend quality time together." See how different that is? It's clear, it's specific, and it starts with "I feel." It's not an attack at all. It's an invitation to solve a problem together.
Look, you can give the most beautiful, poetic apology in the world, but trust isn't rebuilt with words. It's rebuilt with reliable actions day in and day out. It's showing up when you say you will. It's following through on the little promises. It's just being dependable. That's the stuff that really shows you're committed.
Let's be real. Conflict is gonna happen. It's inevitable. But the strongest relationships aren't conflict-free. They're repair-rich. And that repair usually has a pretty clear structure. First, a genuine apology for your part. Second, a reassurance that the fight doesn't threaten the whole relationship. And third, a deliberate action to restore that feeling of connection. Okay, so we've talked about your mindset. We've talked about your actions. But there is one final piece of the puzzle. And honestly, it's the toughest one because it's not totally in your control. Let's just put it out there. You cannot save a relationship by yourself. It's impossible. If only one of you is putting in the effort, being honest about what needs to change, and is actually willing to do the work, well, that's not a partnership. That's just emotional labor, and that is simply not sustainable. It's also so important to rethink what saving the relationship even means. It's not about getting in a time machine and going back to how things used to be. It's about accepting that the old way wasn't working and having the courage to build something new and healthier together. Transformation isn't failure, it's evolution. So if you take away one thing from all of this, let it be this. The answer isn't to grip harder onto something that's slipping away. The answer is to focus on yourself, on your mindset, your actions, and how you contribute to the dynamic. It's about elevating your own behavior. And really, that's the only question that matters at the end of the day. It's not what will they do, or even what will we do. It all starts with you.
Looking at everything we've covered today, from understanding to safety to repair, how will you show up better?